to I'll Knit With You. My name is Rebecca. My username everywhere is EvilTwin2. That's with 2 N's, as you can see. I'm on Ravelry, Instagram, and pretty much everywhere else on the web. You can email me at illknitwithyou@gmail.com. And if you just want to say hi, we do have a group on Ravelry called I'll Knit With You. Can you see a theme here? Yeah. I am going to start off my first episode showing you some recent stash enhancements. So this beauty right here is my first skein of Noro. It is a sock weight. Their colorways just have numbers. And I have never bought Noro before, so I'm pretty excited about it. You can look at all those beautiful colors in there. And I cannot wait to see the kind of sock that this produces. I actually have never knit with a self-striping yarn. So let me explain. So I've been knitting since before I went to college, but my knitting projects were nothing I'd wear outside of my house, let me say it that way. And when I moved into this apartment in July, I was suddenly bit with the strongest knitting bug I've ever felt. Normally I'd pick it up for a month and get halfway through a project and lose my project information or set it down, and I kind of used Ravelry intermittently. But for whatever reason, when I moved in July, I just got bit hard by the knitting bug. And I have learned so much since then that I feel like I've really grown as a knitter. If you asked me to do cables or knit a sock before, I would have laughed at you. But I've been watching a lot of podcasts, and that's also really helped because you guys are super motivational, you podcasters out there. So I'm excited to knit up my first real self-striping socks with Noro. And I didn't just buy one thing of self-striping sock yarn. I recently went to the Bead Place in Fairview Heights, Illinois. And these are the stash enhancements from there. My next yarn from the Big Place is Mark & Cratton's Big Trend. This is in 401 Blue Steel. So it is also kind of a self-striping thing. I believe it is also a sock weight. Get really close so you can see all the good stuff. So it has some grays that grade out to a blue and a purple, and those are some of my favorite colors. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that knits up. The friend that I was visiting had never used a ball winder, and I took mine so she could see, and so we kicked up everything really, really swiftly. The other thing I got from the Bead Place was this beautiful merino tencel. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it has a pink sheen to it. So when the light reflects off it just right, it's got kind of a pink glimmer to it. And this is 50% merino, 50% tinsel. The company that made this is the yarngeekfibers.com. And I will take this off so you can see this a little bit better, because this braid is gorgeous. So look at that. So you can see the pink sheen a lot better right there. And it kind of goes down to some teals and some blues. And I thought this was mostly darker colors, but if you get in here and open it up a little bit, you can see there's bright pops of teals, and there's some bright greens down in here that I just can't wait to see how that spins up. I do all my spinning on a Kiwi 2 from Ashford spinning wheel. It's a double treadle because my sweet mom, who doesn't know much about knitting or spinning, said that she didn't want me to get one leg that was way more buff than the other. So she thought a double treadle was the best idea, and she and my boyfriend went in on that together for Christmas for me, and that was kind of beyond my wildest dreams because I've been doing a lot of drop spindling. So that's my stash enhancement. Now I have a tool enhancement. It is a Lacey's Yarn Swift. Up until now I had been working without a Yarn Swift. I do a ball winder, and after doing about my 40th skein that had fallen out of my hands and ended up tangled on the ground, and I spent 3 days untangling lace for a work in progress I'll show you in a second. I was like, I gotta stop doing this. So here it is. It expands, which is crazy awesome. It's really fun to play with. So the yarn that took 3 or 4 days to unwind was some Madeline Tosh tomato yarn that I'm using for the Isolde Teague's Follow Your Arrow knit along. I'm still on week 2. I'm a little behind. It makes me sad. But what are you going to do? So I just haven't had lots of time to knit. Here is my first bit, and this is upside down, and I'm in the middle of a row, so can't stretch it out for you as much as I would like. But I think it's knitting up really nice. I'm not so sure if I'm doing the second week correctly. I feel like I probably, you know, it's my shawl, and if I like how it looks, I think that's all that counts. So I've been doing mostly the lacy bits and not the more condensed pieces. So this yarn is just gorgeous. Let me take this yarn sleeve off so I can show you. It is called tomato, but it's not just a red. It's a red with oranges and some yellow, and it's not necessarily a gradient, but it is gorgeous. So I really like the way that it looks, and this is my first lace weight project, and so I'm really enjoying the feel of it all. And I'm going between this and a really nice DK sweater I am knitting. So I've been enjoying that a lot. I need to catch up to all you guys out there who are knitting this so swiftly. I just haven't had like 10 minutes to myself to knit this past week. So, and I also started the Follow Your Arrow Cal pretty late in the game. I started at the end of the first week, like on Saturday, so 2 days before they released, because I was winding up my yarn for so long. So that was a little bit frustrating. The other project I am working on is a guinea cardigan from the Harry Potter Unofficial Knits book. I'm doing my sleeves 2 at a time, which is my first 2 at a time project. But I kind of got the feel for it doing the Saloma slippers. It helped me a lot figure out what I want to do. So this is as far as I've gotten on the sleeves. I am doing 5 different colors: a dark green, a light green, a darker yellow, a lighter yellow, and a light green. Here is my body so far. It's not as far along as the sleeves are, so that's kind of a bummer. But I need to get working on that. The center lace bit is working out beautifully, and I had actually done the Tiger's Eyes lace scarf for my mom for Christmas, and it's very much the same pattern, just a little bit different. That's actually the back side, so here's the front of it. I think I was not sure which side I was showing you, but I'm just really enjoying it, and it's really fun. And I'm knitting with this with one of my friends, the friend I visited this weekend in Belleville, actually, the Fairview Heights area. She is also a new knitter, and she just wants to make sure that, you know, if she's got questions, she's got someone to ask who can understand what she's talking about. So we decided to knit this cardigan together so I could walk her through it. So the yarn that I'm using is a Knit Picks DK Swish. Here are my other 2 colors, and I really like the idea of kind of this blocky gradient sweater. And I'm making it a little bit bigger than I need to, so it's going to be fluffy and comfortable, because it's really, really cold outside this year, and that's exactly what I want, although hopefully I finish it in time. And by in time, I am part of the Harry Potter Knit and Crochet team. I guess it's a team. It's more like games, I guess. I am a not quite first year student if you participate, and I'm doing this for an owl. So it's just been a lot of fun, and it kind of gives me a deadline. I need to be halfway down with my colors by February 15th, and I'm about there now. But I did say I would have my sleeves finished by February 15th. So, hoping to get that done soon. For buttons for that sweater, if you've ever listened to the Knit More Girls, at least recently, Jasmine has been talking about some acorn buttons she got for her daughter from a store called Just Fingerprints on Etsy. And not knowing where to turn to on Etsy, I went to that shop and asked if she could do a custom order for me for my sweater. And she made these adorable Harry Potter themed buttons for me. So the lightning bolts are obviously for Harry Scar, and then this is the Deathly Hallows, which is the invisibility cloak, the wand, and the Philosopher's Stone. So that just got all sorts of geeky on you. There are 4 of each button, 8 buttons in total, and I obviously cannot attach them to my sweater until I am much, much farther along. So looking forward to getting to do that for sure. I've been spinning like crazy. I've already finished 2 skeins at least this year, and that's not counting the drop spindle project that I was already working on for a Christmas present that I went ahead and switched over to the spinning wheel. So earlier this year, I got some wool from this shop, and it looked kind of like, I don't know if you've seen Disney's Brave, it kind of like a Merida, like some oranges and teals and blues, and I'm a little Irish, so I really enjoy those colorways. So I spun that up, and here are some pictures of that I'm showing you while I talk about it, because I've obviously spun it up by now, so you can't see what it looks like. And then once it was spun up, I knit it into a hat. So here is my hat. It is the bank head hat. I'm not sure. It doesn't look like dollar bills, so I don't know why it's called that. But it's very nice and warm. I like the way that it fits a lot. It's got a good back bit on it. It folds a little bit, but it's not too much. I don't always like slouchy hats, so this one fits pretty close, and I can kind of scooch it down if I'm having a really cold day, or push it up if it's nice out, but it's still kind of windy like it's been lately. So I really enjoy this hat, and I'm really glad that I knit it. In my knitting fervor to wear this yarn as soon as possible, I think I knit this in a night. It was a very long night, but it's a very easy knit, and it's very easy to understand. It's a well-written pattern. I believe it's free on Ravelry. There'll be a link in the show notes. But I had a really great time knitting it, and I've gotten a lot of compliments wearing my hat, which is always a good feeling. So the yarn itself turned out much more orange than I thought it was going to. Although close up it looks more blue, but I'm sure as you saw on my head, it looks very, very bright and orange. And it might just be the side of the hat that you're looking at too, because obviously the side is much more orange than the side I just showed you. The yarn itself was much more stiff than I anticipated. I'm still learning how to get the right ratio on my spinning wheel for me, and trying different methods of drafting. I mean, it is quite a bit of wool. So I started off with 100 grams. I did about 70 for this. And that's mostly because I had misplaced 30 grams and hadn't realized it, which was a little heartbreaking when I moved the pillow and found this huge swath of wool, and I thought that I was done. But it'll be nice. Maybe I can find out a new way to ply that. I've been looking at chain plying a little bit. Maybe, try it with a white or a black and see how that affects the colors for applying. I know that would be really nice and fun. So I recently finished wool last night. My mom, when she bought my spinning wheel, like I said, she doesn't know much about the world of knitting and spinning and wool and all that fun stuff. So she bought me some wool off eBay. And it's all kind of mystery wool. It just says wool. This stuff is incredibly scratchy, and I'm not sure if it was meant for felting or if it was actually meant for yarn. But here it is. There were actually 4 different colors. There was a teal, a blue, like a sky blue, a lime green, and a dark green. And my intention was to spin them all separately, but about an equal amount, which I did not do my math very well. I didn't do math at all. I just kind of guesstimated. Me and spin this for you. And to then have a long striping yarn. If you can't tell, that's kind of the theme of the day, is striping yarn. So there are some places where it stripes beautifully, but there's also a lot of chunks where you got some nice barber pulling going on, but because it's so consistent, I think it looks really nice. It doesn't look too distracting, like my Merida did, because that was a little bit more intense than I wanted it to be, but I like the hat overall. So I have never washed a yarn that I have spun, which I've really not spun that many, so it's not like I'm talking about, just like gobs and gobs and gobs of yarn. And I'm hoping to give this one a nice bath. I'm not sure how I'll treat it, but I'm looking forward to looking into methods to do that. I do have some soak and some kookaburra. Kookaburra is a lot like soak, it's just a different brand, and they have different scents and stuff like that. And I was gifted that for Christmas a while back. So I will see what works best for this. I don't know if there's a way to condition yarn to make it softer, but maybe just giving it a wash would do that too, because it's very scratchy and very coarse. There weren't any fragments of grass or things like that in it, but it is very... It's not a wool that I would want to wear, so we'll see if we can make it wearable, or if not, it can be cup cozy. I'm in need of cup cozy, so that would be just fine with me. That is the very brief show for today. I hope you liked it. If you would like to see more of my work, follow me on, or more of my work, how pretentious. The friend that I was visiting in Fairview Heights is Evil Twin 1, and that is why I'm Evil Twin 2, because we've been best friends since about 5th grade, when I sat behind her and I was really bad at tying my shoes, so I had those little curly Q shoelaces, and she would play with them all day long, and she taught me the handshake from the Parent Trap, and we became best friends. So that's really cool that we got to spend some time together, and that she's getting into knitting as much as I am. It'll be fun to have a knitting friend. One of the reasons I started this podcast is because in rural Illinois, I feel very alone, and although there's one yarn shop near me, I don't always get a chance to go to it, and when I do, it's not for very long, so I don't really have a community here that I can be part of that works with when I can be part of a community. But I'm really enjoying the online community of knitters and that support, and it's really amazing to post a project on there and have people say, oh wow, you know, that's so beautiful, and I mean, it's like 5 or 6 words, but it can make my day. And I'm hoping that through this podcast, I get to know more of you and you get to know me a little better. So, until next week, this is Rebecca from I'll Knit With You saying, if you're lonely, turn on my podcast and I'll knit with you.